What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition, the 21st edition of the Deep Third Podcast. I'm Jarrell, aka Sir Fresh Breeze, coming to you live like we always do, Sunday nights. It's a stanker of a game going on right now, so hopefully we get some of y'all to tune in here rather than tune in there. But we appreciate all y'all who come through, whether you catch it live or you catch it after. We just appreciate y'all. Uh, Me and Dante gonna get this thing started. I'm gonna pass it over to him, and then it's gonna come back to me for that fresh thought. Dante, go ahead.
Yo, man, as Jarrell said, man, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate you guys hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and also hitting that bell notification. So every time we drop a video, you get it first. So appreciate it, man. It's been some crazy stuff going on, but back to Jarrell with Jarrell's fresh thought.
So, man, listen. I know that I go off on folks sometimes, but this is not gonna be one of them times. Excuse me. Um, I'm sitting there scrolling earlier in the week on ESPN, just looking around as I normally do, and this thing comes up of Tiger Woods, and it says something about his son. And I watched a little clip video, and he got, the Tiger Woods swing and this and that. And then it got me thinking, like, wow, what would it be like to play with your child in a sport? Like, how amazing is that? So I didn't get to watch anything today. I know, but yesterday I watched some of the golf yesterday, and Tiger Woods' son was carrying him. I mean, it was. I think there was three holes where Tiger Woods didn't even hit off the drive because his son hit it. And now let's talk about his age. He's 11 years old. And there were some other guys that had their child um, in there playing, and it was just amazing to kind of see that. So it got me thinking. LeBron James a couple of weeks ago came out and kind of was talking about his contract and why he decided to go with the contract that he did, and he didn't really say it per se, but he kind of said it. So for all of those who don't know, the NBA, you got to at least go to college for 1 year, or at least be 1 year removed out of high school, um, and then you're eligible to come into the NBA. Well, LeBron's contract lines up for him to be a free agent in the year in which his son graduates. Now, there's been a lot of talk about whether the NBA was going to go back to the you can come out after high school. Um, so I thought it was kind of unique to think about, one, the longevity of a Tiger Woods, the longevity of a LeBron James, to be able to play the sport with your child. And we'll kind of get into this probably a little bit later. But for those who don't know, Deion Sanders took a coaching position at Jackson State University, and his son, who was a top 300 player, I think he committed to FAU, decommitted from
FAU.
there, FAU, yeah, and went to play for his father now. And now Deion's older son was at the University of South Carolina, and he entered the transfer portal, and now he's also going to play for his father. Um, it's just it, it's just wild to think. So Dante, I guess I'll pose the question to you: would you rather coach your child or play with your child?
I would say play with because I think that is one of the things that you see a lot of. You see a lot of coaches that coach their kids, whether they're little league, high school, college, um, even professionally when Doc Rivers was coaching his son. So I mean that is definitely something that's not like out of the ordinary, but you don't see a lot of people playing with their child. So I would say that because I'm trying to think of, man, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that played with their child in the sport that was like competitive. So yeah, man, that's what I would do. I would rather play, but I got two girls, so I won't be playing no sport with them.
Hey, you can play golf with them. You got to learn though.
Man, golf looks fun, but it's too expensive for my taste. That's why we call you big britches.
um, so for me, man, I think as much as I would want to play, I think I would want to coach. Now, obviously, I would like to coach them at the highest level. I think it's a lot different. Like you said, Doc Rivers coaching his son, in the NBA. You know, Calipari's coaching his son. I think Dabo Sweeney's son is in college at Clemson. Their defensive coordinator. So for some reason, like I get more joy out of watching. I'm not going to say just my children, but other kids. I mean, in coaching football, like I got into it to see other guys um, reach their dreams, whether it's just to get a D1 scholarship, just to go to college, just to play in college. Um, Not that I try to live through them, but I get way too much joy out of seeing other people succeed. And I think it'd be something different to see it on the outside. Because when you're playing, it's a stress because you want to win, and you know the question is, are you really gonna enjoy it like you should when you're playing with them? Because you're like, man, I don't want to lose. Where when you're coaching, you're kind of facilitating. You kind of get to sit back and watch it all unfold in front of you.
True,
Whereas
that's true.
during the course of a game, it's like, hey, bro, like I need you to pick this up, son. You can't be slacking, son. I need you to pick this up. So for me, that's why I would pick coaching, just because I like seeing people reach those goals. And at the end of the day, I may not be old as dirt, but I feel about old. My body feels about old as dirt, and I go out there one good time, try to play something competitive, and I might lose a leg, an arm, back might go out, neck might go out. They be like, "Hey, yo, bring the cart for him. Bring the cart for
Dang, but that's down bad.
him."
Well, hey
But go.
man, go ahead. What you gonna say?
I was gonna say, but go ahead. We can holler at this hot topic real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So before I get into the topic, man, I just got something that I want to say, man. What a difference! Um, what a difference when you get a franchise quarterback into your program or into your franchise, because I was just looking at the game today where the Cardinals were playing the Eagles, and to see where Callum what Murray got them at is ridiculous. I believe before he got drafted, they were like 3-13. If that's right, I think 3-13. Then the year that he did get drafted, they were 5 and whatever. And now they're at 8-6, and they are on their way possibly to the playoffs. And so it truly does. It truly does make a lot of sense on why people put quarterbacks through what they put them through, to making sure that they get the right person. And the teams that every year they're driving the quarterback and they just can't seem to get right, man, y'all better go pick up the phone book. You pick up your cell phone, and you need to go hire the people that are doing the stuff right so that you can get your team to where you want to be at. So I just want to say shout out to Murray, man. I'm loving what I'm seeing, because I know when he was coming in, everybody's like, "Oh, he's too small. He can't get it done. He need to go play receiver." Why won't he just play baseball? Like they was just going at his head, and even like how they did Lamar, but he's continued
Yep.
week in and week out to continue to show people, hey, nah, man, I'm the real deal. I don't have to be 6'5" like Brock Osweiler, and I can't throw the ball to save my life, but people still want to give me a chance because I'm tall. So I'm just, I mean, maybe because I'm short too. I just love to see that, man. That's awesome. So shout out to shout out to Murray. But let's get into it, man. So we are going to talk about the college playoffs, man. I'm very, very disappointed. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna go over these. It's just kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. So I believe number one team is Alabama. Number two is Clemson, and then number three is Ohio State. And then these guys got the smart idea to put Notre Dame at number four. And so my question to you, Jarrell, is what the heck is going on in college football? Because but I thought that they're trying to put the best teams in the playoffs. I mean, that's what it's about, right? The playoffs is putting the best teams in a category so that you can be entertained. But they put number four Notre Dame in there. So your thoughts on that?
Man, it's pandemic, man. Pandemic. In a year where, I mean, I already went off on Auburn for what they did, but in a year where everybody's scrounging about, money this and money that, I mean, they went with the money. Um, you can tell me all you want that Notre Dame is one of the top four teams, and I'm gonna tell you absolutely not. Um, had had Trevor Lawrence played in the first game, we 100% wouldn't be sitting here right now, um, because I don't believe that Notre Dame would have won that first game and they'd be sitting there with two losses right now. Um, at the end of the day, I'm I, I don't even know what the committee did. Um, I'm frustrated, irritated, um, at everything. I'm sitting there today, and the show came on at like noon, and I'm sitting there, kind of going through it, like, okay, I knew Alabama was going to be number one. I figured that they were going to bump Clemson up after beating the number two team. I figured Ohio State was going to be three, but I honestly thought that Texas A&M was going to take that final spot. So just in going over it, like what's really frustrating to me, how does Oklahoma with two losses, I don't care that they won the championship, with two losses jump up four spots to get to number six over an undefeated Cincinnati team? How does that happen? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't like it. I get that they're a champion, but at the end of the day, you lost two games, and if you say, okay, they lost them in the beginning of the year, they got better. Okay, well, Texas A&M lost to the number one team. Yeah, they got blown out by the number one team, but at the end of the day, they got stronger after that game and didn't lose another game. And then on top of that, they beat Florida, who just took Alabama to the brink at the end with that comeback. But at
Yep.
the end of the day, there was no love for them. When if you're supposed to be getting better as the year goes on, Notre Dame didn't do that. Notre Dame had a couple of tough games towards the end, including the one against North Carolina, which I'm not going to say North Carolina is up there with any of the AC or the SEC teams, and then they lost in blowout fashion in one of the biggest game in the biggest game of the year. You're not talking about just a regular season game. You're talking about a championship game where if you're not up for that championship game, bruh, why you even here? A,
Go home, right?
regu- a
Stay on the
regular
bus.
season? Listen,
Stay on
you
the
lose
bus.
in regular season, I got you. But what happened? Clemson lost in the regular season. You put that money down, and it might mean something now. Clemson wasn't losing to them. It didn't matter what they needed to do. So I I got frustrated at that, and I really got frustrated with the Cincinnati because I felt as though they were disrespectful to Cincinnati. I felt they were disrespectful to Coastal Carolina, who is 11 and 0, not 6 and 0, not 5 and 0. They're 11 and 0. I understand that we can say, well, they didn't play anybody. Just like you could try to say, oh, well, Cincinnati didn't play that many people. Well, who was Coastal Carolina supposed to put on their schedule when everybody went in conference? Who was Cincinnati supposed to put on the schedule?
Yeah.
Nobody. Now, when Ohio State had that bye week because Michigan had that issue, why couldn't they take a game on short notice like BYU did? Why couldn't they come in there and say, hey, listen, Coastal, you want to play? Hey, Cincinnati, you off. You want to play? But they didn't want to do that because they want to protect their brand. The ACC protected their brand by having Notre Dame and Clemson skip their last game of the season because they didn't want no hiccups, so they can try to get two people into the playoffs. So I don't know what the committee was thinking other than money. Notre Dame has one of the biggest followings, and then when you look at how they did it, they put them against Alabama, and they're playing down in Arlington at my Dallas Cowboys home. Well, Texas is allowing the most in-person fans, so therefore that's cash money because you know both of those teams are going to sell out however many thousands of people that they can actually get into the stadium. So it's about money, man. I hate it. I don't like it. Um, I think it was either Cincinnati's AD or the conference director said they need to go back to the computers because the computers, all they see is strength of schedule, all that stuff, and your record. They don't go and look at these. Oh well, we don't want to put Cincinnati in because they may not have the following that Notre Dame does. We don't want to put Texas A&M, who really deserves to be there, because we don't want to have less fans watching, have less of a showing. So it's garbage. What they did this year is garbage. And they should just tell the group of five, y'all need to go do something else because y'all are never getting in. Dante, go ahead.
Man, yeah, so we normally don't agree all the time, but I'm 100% in the same boat as you, bro. This is ridiculous. This is if I was Texas A&M, if I was any of those other schools, I would be knocking on one of those uh people door that the committee that like, look, listen, bro, we about to go out here and throw some hands because this don't make no sense. Like as you said, all right, so they played them earlier in the year. Clemson played Notre Dame, and they played their backup quarterback, and they had to win in overtime. Then fast forward, you get your quarterback back. They still got everybody that they had the first game, and they can't even touch the boy. And I thought it was gonna be a good game because I was like, man, okay, these boys just marched down the field and scored. The running back running up and down the field. Book looked like he out there reading a book. He getting untouched. And he's just throwing passes. And I'm like, man, this might be something nice. And then it just like that changed. And it was like, whoa, what just happened? And after the game, you're gonna sit at a round table and you believe that Clemson you just saw Clemson destroy them and you gonna still put them in? That makes no sense. It's ridiculous. As you said, man, like they should have put Texas A&M in there. I personally believe they should have put Florida. I rather see Florida in there. You know, Florida gave Alabama a good game. Notre Dame, man, they about to get their brakes beat off of them. And I get it. Yeah, they do have a big following. But however, you know, who cares? You can't win. You don't deserve to be on this stage. You, as Coach Houston would say, you got here by default. And it's about to be shown. And I'm sure you're gonna have a bunch of recruits looking at this game like, yeah, maybe I need to go to a different school. Because this is the problem with Notre Dame, and this has been like this for the last what 5 6 years. They get to they do very well, and they get all the accolades during the season, and then they get to the postseason and they can't cash in. They Marvin Lewis do everything you're supposed to do, but then you get to the playoffs and you just stank it up. And I'm kind of sick of it. I don't think they need to go back to the computer. I think they just need to go ahead and make it 6 teams. Stop playing
No,
around. Like,
they gotta they gotta go 8, man. The, 6 teams is gonna be would be a step in the right direction, but in, in all reality, they got to go 8. They got to go 8 because I think that gets you all of the Power Five gets to be represented, and then you get 3 wild cards. And I think that would give the group of five at least a chance. And you can even say one of those 3 wild cards has to go to a group of five, whoever's the highest ranked group of five, however you want to do it. But
yeah,
you you gotta do something because it's hurting the parity in the league right now.
yeah,
Because Alabama and Clemson for sure, and Ohio State, those three are just about every year in the college playoff.
yep,
And I can go into a recruits and say, hey, listen, we might lose a game, but we still gonna be in.
right.
I mean, that that that's what it's looking like. So how is that fair to everybody else when if if all three have good years, all three are going to be in. It'll take somebody making I don't know. Alabama, they can do whatever they want. They might even have 2 losses. I think they did they made it in the year that they didn't make the conference championship and they still made it into the playoffs.
They
I
did.
mean,
Yep,
listen,
yep.
but if you're asking me for the best team, you're right. Every year, Alabama probably is going to be one of those top best teams. But I think you need to open it up to give other schools opportunities. You can't keep leaving it to this small group of 3 plus somebody else.
See, I'm fine with that. I just think that they would never open it up that wide because then they're gonna say, "Oh, it's too much football." We got to be able to play these games, and da 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 da. We're worried about the injuries and da da da. Like it'll be some nonsense like that. But
True.
at the end of the day, they just getting back to the money, and they just don't want these teams. They want these certain schools being in there, and I mean, but at the end of the day, I don't know how they don't look at it this way. For the most part, sports, when you look at sports, most unless your team makes it, you want to see the underdog win. Like
Yes.
like I remember when you had what was it, the '96 Falcons, like with Jamal Lewis, and I forget who they were playing, but
Jamal Anderson.
yeah, Jamal Anderson,
Dude,
yeah,
dirty bird.
yeah, that dirty bird. And but you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't like the Falcons, but I rooted for them because I wanted them to win. They were the underdog. Nobody thought they would win. And so if they want their brand to continue to grow, you should want to put people like that because then that's going to keep people interested. Because when you, like you said, when Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson, they're going to be the top three. They're going to be in there. After a while, people will be like, "Man, it's fixed. This ain't real." They put in who they want to put in there. It becomes WWE. That's what it becomes. And but if you putting people in there, and I'm not just saying that. All right, yeah, the team is. they 6-5. Yeah, go ahead and put them in the playoffs so they get no. I ain't talking about that. Like put the teams that deserve to be in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Notre Dame this year, they did not deserve to be in there. They did really good in during the season, but they got to that conference championship game, and some people stayed on the bus, bro. Some people ain't get off to go play. Some people was like, nah, it's COVID. I'm gonna sit home.
Hey,
Um,
hey, bruh. They got off the bus ready. They just ran into a team, and their best was not good enough.
so, but yeah, I'm highly upset and I'm highly disinterested in seeing the Alabama and Notre Dame game because it. I mean, to be honest, if I was on the prior Alabama team, I'm like, Coach, bro, do I really gotta play this game? Can Can you let somebody else get some reps? They gonna be playing next year. Like that's almost the mentality I would have in and it's kind of like disrespectful to the NCAA because it's like you're supposed to be having the top four best teams in your entire organization and and the fourth best team you come up with is Notre Dame and they just got they tails whooped 34-10. Come on, bruh. Like, oh, but anyways, man. So the other thing that we wanted to discuss, man, and I'm glad we kind of started off with that first because it kind of ties into this, and is Deion Sanders, man. What is that boy doing? That if you don't know, Jarrell and I we both play defensive back. My favorite defensive back ever is Deion Sanders. I wish I could move like he did. I could not, but I was a better tackler than Deion Sanders. Maybe I don't know. But
you
anyways, but
you probably were.
but but he is killing, man. Like so we talked about this earlier, like when we first started the podcast about how could we get, you know, uh should top players start to go to HBCUs and put them boys on the map, because of how, the whole Black Lives Matter and everything that was going on in today's society with how black people were getting treated. And we were discussing like, should black athletes say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to go to a Notre Dame. I'm not going to go to an Alabama. I'm not going to go to a Clemson because Dabo Sweeney he doesn't want me to voice my opinion on when I see something that's not right. So I'm gonna go to this HBCU where I'm gonna be accepted for the most part, and I'm gonna be able to do what I want to be able to do when it comes to that. And he has come to Jackson State, bro, and he getting people. Hey man, I'm good. I don't need to be here no more. I'm going to D1 AA. And these are cats that's leaving like top programs. I think I saw uh I saw USC, I saw Tennessee, I saw Florida State,
Yep, Florida
just to name
State.
a
Yep.
couple. And these are not programs like, oh yeah, this is the program down the road where the grandma is bringing the snacks in at halftime to give you orange slices. These are top quality programs, and so what are your thoughts, man? Like this, is this gonna? Do you before you answer that? Do you think that this is going to help um, D1 AA schools to kind of break into the mainstream of college football, or do you just think it's just like it's Deion, so people just come in because it's Deion, and it's not going to do anything?
I I think it's all going to depend on if he wins. And I mean, you said it. I mean, think about it. You got guys that are willingly going from now again, who knows? They might have some issues. They might not be getting playing time, whatever the reason. But with the way the transfer is now, all these cats normally are going to these new schools and getting to play right away. But you do, you got cats like you said from USC and Florida State and Missouri. Um, I think they took I think he's like the number 4 rated corner that was at JUCO that was already committed. Flipped him. I mean, Dion's putting some names to the program, and I think if he wins, I think you could start to see that in general. Because at the end of the day, think about the NFL and how they go about it. Guys are found everywhere now. It's not so much that you have to go to D1, but at the end of the day, Dion, all he's got to do is call me, and I'd be like, all right, who? Oh, you at NAIA? You at Division 3? Okay, I'm there. I mean, that's just the Dion name, and I would love to play for him. But at the end of the day, you know that he knows pro. You know that his coaching staff is going to be up to snuff. Um, if I'm not mistaken, I think Michael Strahan has already donated suits to everybody. I
Yep,
mean, so
they own
so
it.
you're not going to just some general stank school that's probably not going to take care of you. They got Dion there, and they need to keep Dion there, so they're going to take care of you. I think alumni are going to start coming out, assisting, helping, and I think that's what a lot of it is. Um, I know Oklahoma and I think Alabama had a couple facilities that were built by the boosters. So I think you're going to start to see that the ones that are successful are going to start to give back, because if you want to get some of those guys, or I should say, keep getting those guys, you're going to have to do something on the back end, and it's not just winning on the field. Because
Yep.
when I went and visited how Oklahoma lives, that's amazing. When you go see how Maryland lives, listen, it ain't Oklahoma, but it's still good living. So that's what I think they have to get to, because a lot of these cats these days are looking for basically the amenities. You know what I mean? You go to a hotel and it's like sometimes you go in and you just want a bed. And then other times you go in, you're like, man, nah, man, I want that breakfast. I want that lunch. I want that dinner, all included for the low, low price. Um, so if Dion wins, absolutely, I think you're right. What he's doing right now is unheard of. Well, I shouldn't say unheard of. I would say what he's doing is cutting edge for today. Because I don't know if you remember, obviously we played, and Cal U was kind of that team back then, that D2 school that was getting all the D1 transfers.
Yeah,
Um, that's just what they were doing. And then I think there was another program, maybe down,
West
I feel like it was
Alabama.
down in Missouri or something. Yeah, they were getting a lot of the transfers. But
Yeah,
now, seeing him do it at that level, because I can't say per se that I've heard of it, and maybe it just hasn't been mainstream of a 1AA getting all these cats to come. But what Dion's doing for HBCU one is amazing, and the guys that he's bringing in, I think it sets his program up for success. Now it's going to be their job as coaches to get them to the point where we're going to see them on ESPN constantly. Because you know it's going to happen next year. You already know ESPN is going to be around that program as much as they can. I wouldn't be surprised if a documentary doesn't come out because of it.
yeah, man. I agree with you, bro. I think it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting, man, because you're gonna have a lot of people, I think, that's gonna try to be around the program for positive and negative uh
Yep.
reasons.
Yep.
And the other thing too is like me coming because I went to Grambling and going from a HBCU and just coming to Seton Hill, I was like, oh my gosh, like you said, boy, we living good, boy. Like Faye, Sneaky Barrel, he remember coming to my dorm room. Like his room was bigger than mine, and I lived on I think the fourth floor. Elevator worked sometime. Sometimes it didn't. Whenever it wanted to work, it worked. And when it didn't work, guess what? You better get on the stairs, get to your room. So, I definitely know how it is there, and at HBCUs, I loved it. It was a great experience, but it is a huge difference from one of these schools that you have alumni giving back. Um, but with him being there, I think that changes everything. I think all of the amenities, I think all of the facilities, they about to go through the roof. Because now you got somebody in there that he has money, so he's going to
Yep.
demand certain things, and Dion flashy, so Dion gonna want the best, and I'm sure they already knew that before he even came in what it was gonna be
Yep.
looking like. So, um, and like I was watching one of the interviews, I was looking, I was like, oh, okay, they already look like they starting to get some nice stuff. Like they don't change up the uniforms already. Like you said, they already don't got the suits for the kids, so these kids don't have to worry about
Yep.
getting suits. So it's gonna be a lot of stuff changing. I think what it's gonna come down to, like you said, they have to win, and then on top of that, going back to the Cincinnati's and stuff like that. And I know this year they couldn't really do it, but they're going to have to start putting those teams that nobody wants to play on that schedule, so then they can go out and be able to flaunt, just like Appalachian State used to do. They put these cats on their schedule, and then guess what happened? They started beating cats, and now guess what? These boys in big time football now. They not looked
Yeah.
at, even though they probably still are looked at. Oh, it's still just Appalachian State, just like Coach of Carolina. Oh, it's just they not. But guess what? These teams, now if they want to get their name out there, they want to continue to be in that running or even make it to the playoffs. You need to put the Clemson's on your schedule. You need to put the Alabamas on your schedule, and I think that's what Dion's gonna have to do. He's gonna have to put a Coastal Carolina team on the schedule. Oh, hey, y'all ranked number 16 or whatever y'all rank. Hey, what's happening? Let's play. Let's see who better. And I think that's how you get people to even uh keep the name, keep the buzz going, and then also how you can kind of get into that mainstream when it comes to college football.
Yeah. 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 I it's going to be different, um, just to see how he starts to build that program. Um, and the I guess kind of going back to Dion's there, and I think he has an objective of something that he's trying to do, but kind of tying in, um, a lot of these coaches at, I would say, a lesser school, um, which is why I think that they need to open up the playoff and give other people, is to try to keep some of these coaches, try to keep some of these good coaches at these smaller universities, because they know if I'm Cincinnati and I'm Luke Fickle, who obviously came from Ohio State, if I'm him, I want out, because if I'm not going to have a chance, listen, I appreciate you, Cincinnati. We got a great team, but I'm trying to move on. I want to be somewhere where I can get to be a part of the big dance, and not because I got to try to schedule, hopefully, a good team, which is going to be 2, 3 years down the line, or I have to schedule this team and I got to play at their house every time and I can't get a home game. So I'm at the disadvantage. I That is the other reason why, because the parity in the leagues is not just players, it's also coaches. Because what happens? Every good coach leaves to go take another position. Every good coach. Charlie Strong, Louisville, came over to Texas, didn't end up working out. But had he stayed at Louisville, continued to build what he had, he'd probably still be one of the top coaches. Dante, Mr. Florida State, that got fired, he should have never left. Well, I guess he walked in the door and walked out the door. and then went to Florida State.
Oh, when he was
But
at Oregon.
yeah, but you
Yeah.
just look at you just look at a lot of these cats, and it's like, they go from this program to this program, and for the most part, it doesn't work out because what you're doing when you're at a Cincinnati or what you're doing at a Jackson State, um, is you're you're building a culture, right? Which is different than when you go to some of these big schools that got this huge history. So you go
Yeah.
to an Alabama, you got this huge history, right? And it took Nick Saban to bring I'm not going to say a total different culture, but a different culture in order for them to win. Because before he came, they
That
weren't
was
winning.
trash.
Yes. And then you get these pop up schools like a Auburn that, okay, Auburn has a good game. Okay, it is what, or a good year. It is what it is. But on a regular, Auburn's not going to be able to compete with Alabama year in and year out. But if you develop people and use what I would say the Michigan State way, Michigan State, they used to keep their guys for 4 years and they would always have a decent year. No, I would say a good year, not a great year. And every 2 to 3 years, they would be in contention. I would take that at that type of school over the boom or bust that is Auburn, the boom or bust that is Mississippi State, or now we can say Florida State or Miami, where they- they're not powerhouses anymore. So they got to develop guys. But you can't do that when you're changing coaches every other year.
I I get it, but this is the thing. If I'm at Central Michigan, man, and we have a good year, and a high profile job comes open, bruh, hey man, I love y'all, Central Michigan, but guess what? I'm out. Because first off, I know the facilities are going to be so much better because you know when we at the smaller schools, the facilities are only going to be able to get so big. You're only going to be able to do so much because they don't look at it. For instance, like Florida, for instance, Seton Hill. I remember you having a conversation with the school about them building a stadium on campus, which they had buku lands where they could have made a stadium easily, and that would have made it easier for kids to come to interact with the football team, and they could have also had the soccer there. They could have had everything there, but they said, nah, it's a community thing. We want to keep it at the high school stadium and da 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 da. Woo, woo, woo. Okay, and that's the same thing that happened at these other schools. Well, we can't get that budget that high up, because we got to help out the volleyball team. The volleyball team ain't bringing in no money. It's a football team. We the one that just won a championship or a conference championship, not the volleyball team. No offense to the volleyball team, but the soccer team ain't doing nothing either. So you about to take our revenue and you about to cut it in half and put it over here. And then now, hey, we need a new weight room. Well, yeah, we gonna have to wait for another 5 years. We don't got 5 years. We need it right now, and that's the thing. They ain't trying to do that kind of stuff, and so yeah, you can stay there and try to reinvent what you did for the present season, but then again, at the same time, now you still got to go and get the other recruits and get them to come and to be able to sell them your dream, and then they come in and they looking like, this the weight room. It look like a garage. Well, I can go down the street and I can go to, I don't know, state. And now, you know what I'm saying? I go in their weight room and then over in the corner, they got a smoothie bar. And then down the corner, then they got another like where you get food. So that's the thing when it comes down to it. I think that if you had more smaller schools willing to do more to keep coaches there, and not just saying that they need to just pay the coaches more, but just being able to invest into their program. And a lot of people they don't invest. And like I said, you know this from Seton Hill, and I do too. They didn't really care. They just was happy that they had a program for one, and that people were coming because they knew that with them having a program, that means people are going to come. The tuition is going to get paid. We making more money. Oh, y'all won 2 games? Hey, good job. We ain't have a team last year, so that's 2 wins more than we had last year. That's awesome. But guess what? We don't care. Oh, you how did y'all get down to the weight room or to the football field the first year? Oh, just roll. Hey, don't worry about it. You hurt if you hurt your ankle, it's okay. We got another 150 people at the defensive backs position. It's okay. So it comes down to that. I think that most coaches, not all of them, because some coaches are just coaches, some coaches are just coaching. But for the most part, I think most coaches, they know, all right, man, these people ain't trying to buy into what we trying to do. I want to win. Like I don't want to just be okay with being mediocre. I want to win. And a lot of these programs in the schools, they don't really care about that. It's hey, go to class, which is great. Go to class, get your education. Um, if you win a conference championship, oh, that's great. If you don't win, hey, that's still great. So you got some teams or some schools, they don't care about what they're doing or if they're successful on the football field. They just want to have that there to say, hey, we have this, so that entices more people to come. And I think if more schools were inclined, like for instance, St. Vincent, that is a school that they care about their football program, and like going into their weight room, going to their stadium, and that's D3. They got stadiums, and I know the Steelers help out with that stuff or whatever, but at the same time, you could see the difference in how they care. Cal U, big difference. IUP, Shepherd, big difference. These are places where they care about what's going on. Seton Hill, not so much. And I think you have a lot of small schools that are in that category of Seton Hill. And so therefore coaches know, well, I know if I stay here for the next 5 years, it's not going to get that much better because what are they going to do for me? They don't really care. So I'm just here to build my name, to do well so I can move on.
So you are 100% correct. But here's here's where I differ as far as being a coach, and what I believe coaches should do. Right? Everybody can't be Nick Saban. Everybody can't get 25 stars, 25 5 stars every year and be able to manage them. A lot of these guys that build at a MAC school or a Conference USA school or something like that, they may not know how to approach that 5 star recruit. You may not know how to talk to that 5 star recruit. You may not know how to get that 5 star recruit to raise his level, because when you're talking about what I would consider, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but the privileged ones, the ones that have been told that, they're the poop their entire life. They got, 50,000 schools coming after them, da da da, da da da, da da da. They got that entitlement. And when I see a guy at the MAC or I see a guy at this small school, they got that grit to them, which is why I think a lot of times it it doesn't translate, because if I'm at Alabama, if I'm at Auburn, if I'm at Florida State, I can't get the 3 stars, the 2 stars, the 1 stars, and 2 years from now they become great. No, 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 no. I need to win now, because if I don't win this year, my job might be gone next year. So
Yeah.
I think I would prefer maybe not a MAC, maybe not a Conference USA, maybe not a Mountain West, but I would prefer a lower tier ACC, something like that. But the deal that you got to think about is you still got to win. And when the pressure to win is there, we've seen it. People do a lot of crazy things when that pressure is there to win.
Right.
I want to be able to build my program the way I want to, which I think Dion is going to do. I think Dion's fingerprints are going to be all over it, and maybe it's just because of his status. Maybe it's because they're going to realize like he didn't have to come here. Like he probably could have got him a job anywhere he wanted to come, but he chose to accept this position. So maybe they will roll out the red carpet. I do think schools got to do a better job of doing things to keep coaches there. But at the end of the day, money talks. I would hope that I'm not just a money guy because yeah, it sounds nice, but I look at Charlie Strong, that got all that money, and now your name isn't even there. I'd rather stay relevant. Um, I look at it like a free agent. If I'm a free agent and I was playing with Patrick Mahomes, why would I go just because I want money to go to Jacksonville where we're not going to win, we're not going to do anything. I'm going to be home by the end of December, and that's it. I
Hey
mean,
man, it,
I would rather play and be relevant than go to where you're not relevant because you're not winning. Nobody cares. You can have individual good seasons, but it's like, okay, but the team's not winning. Nah, bro. Give me Patty Mahomes. Give me Tom Brady. Give me Aaron Rodgers so I can have a 15-year career instead of a 7-year career. That's
hey
just me.
man,
But I know we're gonna finish on up. I was checking out the chat. We got a Jimmy Strong that says what's up. What's up,
Jimmy,
big
what up,
Jimmy?
boy?
So we appreciate you stopping through. But we can go ahead see if you or I do you have anything hot you want to finish off with?
Uh, nah, man. Hey, man. Like we said before, man, we appreciate you guys jumping on and watching our conversations about sport, man. This is definitely one of our passions. We do this every day on camera, off camera. Sometimes, even face to face when we were living in close proximity. But so we appreciate you guys getting on and watching, man. Thank you. And like we said earlier, man, don't forget to hit that like button. That helps the channel. It gets us out there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also make sure you hit that bell notification. So whenever you want to hear about sports, man, we bringing it to you, and you will know about it as soon as we do. And also leave comments down below, man. If it's a
Yeah.
topic that you want us to discuss, put it down there, man, and we'll get to it, and we'll make that the next week, man. Because we want this to be not just a conversation. We want it to be the world conversation. So come join us. Let's have conversation. And yeah, man, that's all I got on you.
Hey man, finish it out. We're getting into that sweet spot of sports coming up. We got football getting into the nitty gritty. We got basketball getting ready to start up, and then hockey's gonna be starting up. So we gonna be getting into some nitty gritty. It's always exciting for me when the clump of sports come out because you got basically sports every day. And Dante, I don't know if you noticed, but we got football on Christmas. We got the NFL on Christmas. They doing Christmas, they
Christmas.
doing Saturday, they doing Sunday, and they doing Monday. 4 days NFL. They they working that market, bro. They
Boy,
working that
hey,
market.
slavery is real.
But
But
we
hey,
appreciate
before
y'all,
we get
man.
off this, quick question. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who do you have winning the NCAA national championship?
Alabama.
Alabama. Yeah, I got Clemson. I got
I want to
Clemson.
say Ohio State, but Justin Fields might have sprained his thumb, so I was going. That was going to be my pick, but
Eh, I don't think they defense that good this year.
they're
I
not
don't think
great. They're not great, but I I just thought that Justin Fields was going to have a chip on his shoulder, as he was the number one recruit coming out when Trevor Lawrence came out, and Trevor Lawrence was number two. But I thought he was going to have a point to prove, but we're gonna find out in just about close to 2 weeks.
And I was about to say this will be the first time they played against each other.
Now they played last
Uh,
year.
they played last year.
Yeah, they played last year, and Justin Fields threw that interception. His receiver fell down, running
Oh,
like a
okay,
post
okay.
route. Yep, he ended up throwing an interception once the receiver fell down. But yeah, it was a close game, man.
And
So I'm
I think
excited.
they said that they also live like maybe like 20 miles away from each other.
Yep,
So crazy,
it's gonna
crazy.
be it's gonna be ta licious.
Yeah, I can't wait. But all right, man. Hey, we all for this thing, man. Hey, appreciate y'all. Deep third, we out, man.